BlogTalk Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this broadcast of this program about your Kundalini awakening experiences. My name is Chrism, and we're just going to dive right into it. I'd like to, first of all, welcome everybody who's calling in, who is listening in on the chat room, who is listening in on the groups, and who are listening in, the future people in the archives. Here we go. There are many ways to honor the Kundalini within you. The Kundalini within you creates doorways and gateways for you to learn how to come into a total and complete alignment with the Kundalini. And one of the ways that I want to talk about today is a mantra. A mantra is a set of spoken sacred words that bring an intention of not only a summoning, but of a surrendering of yourself into the divine grace within you, the Kundalini within you. The mantra can be one of the most important tools that a person has in order to communicate directly the many different wavelengths of thoughts and emotions and feelings and needs to the Kundalini, but it's also a gateway into a complete merge with the Kundalini. Early in my process, when I first really decided that I had no choice but to do this, as I've mentioned in other programs, I locked myself into an aluminum garden shed, like an 8 by 8 feet by 8 feet aluminum garden shed, and along the walls were all these black widows, poisonous spiders, and we made an agreement that I wouldn't bother them if they wouldn't bother me. And so for the next year, I meditated every day in that aluminum garden shed. But inside the shed, as I was sitting there in the dark, and it was dark, it was a black dark experience. As I was sitting there in the shed, certain kinds of mantras would come to me. One of them would be, I am at one with the all that I am, which was explained to me that it's an interlocking mantra, i.e. it locks within itself, but it also is an infinity mantra. meaning that you can go, I am at one with the all that I am, at one with the all that I am, at one with the all that I am, at one with the all that I am. It's almost like a Mobius strip in a way, like a vocal Mobius strip. And, I found these mantras to be exceptionally helpful, exceptionally centering, focusing, and it really took care a lot of the monkey mind that sometimes a person can experience when they're trying to do a meditation. I was not an experienced meditator when I started doing this. I was very inexperienced. I just knew I had to do it. And the Kundalini was driving me and compelling me. And this was during the activation stage. One of the most important stages of Kundalini experiencing is the activation stage, because it drives you to practice. It drives you to sit in an 8x8 garden shed in the middle of the summer meditating with a bunch of poisonous spiders. It drives you to do these things, and it drove me to open myself to different mantras that would come to me. And I say this with all sincerity, that the mantra phenomena is one of the most important tools and gateways that a person can experience within the Kundalini. It is a huge thing. And I'm going to encourage all of you that have the Kundalini going right now to really open yourself to saying a mantra all the time. When you're driving to work, when you're stopping traffic, if you're a truck driver, then, when you're doing your work, when you're driving cross country, when you're sitting on an airplane, when you're home alone, even sometimes when you're just washing the dishes after dinner, say the mantra. Let the mantra be as close to you as you can possibly make it. Let the mantra be true. See, that's the other thing, is to make the mantra a gateway, one has to allow the mantra to become a true reality. So if I say I am at one with the all that I am, well, then I must be at one with the all that I am. And the only way I know to be at one with the all that you are is to embrace the Kundalini within you. That is the only way that I know of. I'm sure that God and Goddess have come down and placed their hands on certain people in our population and just boom, let them know for 20 minutes what it was to be all that they are. And I'm sure that it's happened. I'm sure that it's not, doing this the way Chrism says to do it is not the only way. People have Kundalini, regardless whether they listen to me. The Kundalini will bring them to me, but they get it in the first place. I'm looking at, people like Katie Paulson Galarno or iMagicart David and Indra and some of the other people that we have on this program. They didn't get the Kundalini from me. They got it from Kundalini. And so the Kundalini will give itself to a person, but that person must come into a level of understanding and communication with that invitation that the Kundalini is giving to them. And that invitation is often that agreement of communication is often encapsulated inside of a mantra. One of the most important aspects of a mantra is to give yourself in complete and total surrender, because you do not know yourself as well as the Kundalini knows yourself. You don't know what your karma is except for what you've already experienced in your lifetime, and that experience is shrouded by the limitations of understanding that we come into this body with. That's part of our agreement. Part of our agreement is to come in here completely innocent, completely disconnected from our spiritual memories, from our past life memories, from the agenda that we have in having this life right now. We're separated from that. That is the veil of forgetfulness. Now, of course, some people come in with variations of memory. They get a glimpse of drowning, or they get a glimpse of being a princess in Egypt or whatever. they're given little glimpses that allow them to have a curiosity or to have a fascination about who they may have been or how they may have died, or the very many different scenarios that come with the Kundalini or come with a spiritual quest. But for the most part, we are given into a complete and innocent experience with this world and with our place in it. My name is Chrism, but my name hasn't always been Chrism. It's been, many different names throughout the different lifetimes. The soul is the same, but the names change. It's very similar to Kundalini, where every culture has a word or a name that we're calling Kundalini today. But the Greater Kunalini in ancient China, the Tumo of the Tibetans, the red serpent energy of shamans, and many, many, many other names the Kundalini goes by. And it's like Shakespeare said, a rose by any other name still smells as sweet. And that is definitely what's going on with the Kundalini. And as we've come into this world from an extremely innocent perspective, and we're beginning to embrace, by virtue of our karma, by virtue of our spiritual questing, by virtue of our level of spiritual evolution into this world, as we come into an understanding, or not even an understanding, more of an acknowledgement of the Kundalini within us, it is very, very helpful to have a mantra that really begins to condition the mind. And as you condition the mind, you condition the ego. As you condition the ego, you condition the emotions. As you condition the emotions, you condition the body. And as you condition all four of those, you condition the spirit, the fifth one. It's very important to begin this conditioning. And one of the most appropriate and effective mantras that I know of is to surrender, is to give yourself completely to the Kundalini, or to the teacher that the Kundalini has given you to. Because the Kundalini understands that you're not really always going to trust what a spiritual force will tell you, because it's not how you're used to being communicated with. It's not how our society works in today's world. The engineer on a train isn't channeling some discarnate being say, okay, the tracks are clear now, and the opposite coming train is going, okay, yeah, the tracks are clear now, and they may be heading straight for each other. This is not how this world is run right now. But for you and your Kundalini, she may give you a physical, a physical intermediary. And if you have that physical intermediary, you can give your devotion, you can give the meaning, the essence of your being to that physical teacher, but you must be certain that the Kundalini has brought you to it. In many ways, you'll have no choice. When the Kundalini directs a person to a teacher or to a teaching, that person is drawn to it like a magnet, or like an insect to a light. It becomes a very, very clear pulling. But sometimes, in order to test the person and to test the person's strength and to test their courage, she'll give that teacher a patina of dysfunctionality or corruption or difficulty, a degree of difficulty that pushes the student to really begin to do what the mantra is going to have them do, which is to trust the Kundalini no matter how the physical landscape appears. So in other words, you're being asked to dive off the ship in the middle of the ocean and trust that you will not drown. As you're treading water there for 20 minutes, you're seeing the ship sail off in the distance, and you're going, okay, what now? Where's this going? And you just got to trust. And the next thing you know, you hear that thump, 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 thump. And that's that Kundalini helicopter coming to pick you up. Or, worse yet, for me at least, worse yet, you see a set of triangular fins coming at you on top of the water. and you're going, oh, shit. Why did I trust the Kundalini? Oh, shit. And it comes closer, and these are 6-foot tall dorsal fins, and you're just going, what the heck could that be? And then you see they're black and white, and then you see they're 2 orcas, and then you see they're slowly rising under your water-treading body, and then you ride them all the way to a safe place. Anything can happen in this world, my friends, and the Kundalini knows everything that can happen to this world. And so I am saying with all truthfulness, with all sincerity, that you must trust the Kundalini, give yourself to Kundalini, and give yourself to that intermediary, that teacher, if she's given you to have one. You'll make the most progress if you have to deal with a flesh teacher. Unless the Kundalini is giving you vision after vision after vision after vision and guiding you within your interactions with humanity, well, fine, that's great. Go with that. But if she gives you to a flesh teacher, don't go, oh, my God, I can't do that to another human being. I can't do that. That's not right. This is totally against how I was brought up. I cannot do that. It is not welcome. And you must listen to your Kundalini and not your ego. Your ego is the one that's saying, oh, no. This is just not right. But your higher self, your Kundalini is going, yeah. Do it, and do it now, and stop complaining. Or she'll just sit there and let you twist. That's what she does to me. Sit there and let you twist and let you figure out why it is necessary for you to do this work. Why it is necessary for you to give yourself completely. And I mean completely. You give your life, you give your heart, you give your mind, you give your modesty, you give your material wealth, you give your thought patterns, you give everything from your naked body to the money in the bank. You give everything to Kundalini, everything to that teacher if this is what she's given you to have. And you trust that teacher is not there to take advantage of you. Because you know Kundalini isn't, even though it may seem that way sometimes. She'll give you certain tests that will seem to be extremely inappropriate. And they will be inappropriate to the sleeping population, but to the awakening or activated population, it's right exactly what is needed. It's the truth. And our society does not recognize truth all the time. Our society is written by those who sleep, not by those in the activated or awakened stages. You've got to understand that. You've got to listen to that. You've got to hear that. So the mantra is one of the most important tools that you can have in order to establish a level of surrender, a level of submission, a level of obedience to the Kundalini. I don't care if the Kundalini is saying, oh, give that to Chrism, or oh, give that to whoever. I'm afraid to mention a name. to Yogananda. You know, when Yogananda was alive, people would give devotion to Yogananda. So I don't care where she directs you to do it to or who she directs you to do it to. Just do it. It's not about what that mantra is doing to that flesh teacher. It's what the mantra is doing to yourself. The flesh teacher is just a target. It's just a target to bounce back to you what you're saying to that teacher. When I have students doing this, I'm saying, make it true. Make it a reality. Make it a complete truth. Live the mantra. Become the mantra. And I sincerely mean that. And furthermore, I try to give people the most difficult mantra that they can have. The most difficult. They're giving their life, and they're giving their possessions, and they're giving their thought patterns, and they're giving their brains, and they're giving their soul. They're giving they're giving their Kundalini. They're giving everything that they can possibly give, everything from their psychology to their obedience to they're becoming a willing servant, a willing slave, if you would, to the Kundalini. Can you do this? Is this something that you can do? Or are you hearing me and going, oh my God, this guy is crazy. This guy, I need to call an ambulance for this man. How do you get a hold of, where is that guy coming from? How does this work? How can that guy be saying, become a slave to an unseen force? Well, no, I'm saying you become a slave to that force that's working through that teacher. The teacher's quite easily to be seen or heard, as you're hearing in this case. And it's even worse because this opens up the idea of demagoguery or master and slave and blah, blah. All the terrible, terrible, terrible understandings that we in the West have grown accustomed to hearing because of the sins of our ancestors in having slaves and treating them so badly. Nobody wants to repeat that mistake. And yet here this guy is, this Kundalini teacher, or whatever you want to call him, saying, yeah, you got to be a slave. You got to give yourself completely. You got to be owned and operated by the Kundalini. It's very important that you understand that the only way, one of the few ways, I should say, I try not to be as absolutist as it sounds. One of the ways to come into grace is through the enforced enslavement of the egotistic body. The enforced enslavement of the egotistic body. Because first of all, that's a very hard pill to swallow. But when you swallow it, the gifts of that pill are tremendous. It opens you up completely and removes the blockages of the ego from the individual process. The mental mind doesn't really care about giving itself to a teacher. The emotional mind, as it's triggered by the ego mind, does. The physical body doesn't. It's only the emotional mind and the ego mind that really give a shit about what society is saying about the appropriateness of this or not. And the Kundalini can absolutely care less what your egocentrism is saying about giving yourself completely to the teacher that she's given to you, or to herself individually, or to both. Kundalini doesn't care about your ego mind. It cares that you control your ego mind so that you don't have fear, so that you don't have concern, so that you do have trust. And because you have trust, that you can surrender, that you can give yourself. And the mantras are the premier tools of giving yourself in these ways, unless you've had a near-death experience. If you've had a near-death experience, well then it's the instruction that you've received from the NDE, the near-death experience, that is guiding you into this. Or if you already have a strong level of guidance within your life, and that if it's good guidance, the guidance will say, give yourself to the Kundalini. Stop wasting your time here. Your lifetime is very short. Get to work and do the work. And if the Kundalini is saying follow the mantra and give the mantra to this teacher or to itself or to both, then you must start doing that. You must trust. Trust Shakti, trust Shiva, trust sacred female, sacred male, trust the Kundalini in you, and say the mantra. Say the mantra over and over and over. Now I'm going to come on over to the person here who is the sponsor of this program. And she's probably going, oh, my God, I can't believe he's talking about this. It's like, oh, my God, my name's Odessa, and I'll just use your first name. I'd like to introduce Miss Sun. And Miss Sun here is from Ireland, and her husband paid for the show to happen. And so I'm very grateful to them. And I'm very grateful to the Kundalini for suggesting this to them. And hello, Miss Sun. How are you?
Hello, Chrism. I'm good. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Have you ever received a mantra from me that your Kundalini agreed with?
I'm sitting here going, oh my God, what's he going to ask me? Have I received a mantra that ask me again, have I received a mantra that my Kundalini has agreed with? Absolutely, Chrism. From my teacher, yes.
Would it have been a challenging mantra? Did you kind of like have to think twice about what the heck is he asking me to say?
Yeah, of course I did. I suppose I'll just start maybe by saying my very first mantra that I ever had was yours as well. It was the beginning of, your surrender prayer.
Right.
And it begins, I surrender to love, I surrender to truth, and I surrender to God. And that was my very, very, very first mantra. That I used myself. It was what I used to call my first aid mantra, because it definitely took me out of a place of fear, because I used to get so much phenomena, my ego would go into a panic, and that was what I used. And then you became my teacher, and that mantra was changed by you. And the mantra you gave me, of course, I had some difficulty with it initially. I was like,
Do you recall? Do you recall the mantra? Do you recall the mantra at all?
Well, yeah. It has changed over the years, but I also
say some of it for the benefit of the people listening. Say some of it.
Well, I can't remember the exact words, but I would have surrendered my beliefs and my faith, and my intentions, my will, all of my material possessions, my happiness, my physical body, my intelligence, my thoughts, everything really, my fears, my mind, my days, my nights, all that sort of thing. It was, and then I would have had to give them to my teacher, I would have had to say, I am in complete and total devotion and allegiance to my teacher Chrism. And I will obey his instruction regardless of how I feel. That sort of thing. It wasn't easy, but my Kundalini always gave me. I mean, I knew my Kundalini guided me to you. I never had any doubt about that. So, and I always knew that what came from you for me was actually, from my Kundalini through you. So I always trusted it, even when I had difficulty with it. I knew the difficulty was coming from my ego, Chrism, and that I was to stick with it.
Even when you were told to go out into the early in the morning, go out onto the Irish beach and undress and walk completely naked into the ocean and get to the ocean where you can go underwater for a 9 count and then returned even then?
Yes, Chrism, of course, even then. And some of those things, they weren't the hardest things. They were hard, but whatever you told me to do and whatever instruction you gave, my mantra, prepared me for that to be the truth. So, I mean, it is what you're saying. You have to become the mantra, and you have to believe the mantra. It has to be the truth for you. So, if I'm saying, I will obey, and I my teacher, no matter what his instructions are, no matter how I feel about them, well, then that is something that you follow through on regardless. And
well, how does it feel? How does it feel? Can you explain to the people? How does it feel to give yourself in such a way to another human being?
Well, there's two things about that, because you are giving yourself to another human being, but you're really giving yourself to the Kundalini and giving yourself to the human being. It's a little bit like what you said, I think, at the beginning of the show. The Kundalini within me was strong, but yet, giving myself to the flesh teacher was that intermediary, was as if I was giving it to the Kundalini. I was giving it to the Kundalini, but it was the teacher that I was focused on giving it to. And what actually would happen for me would be I would get a response within my body. I would from the Kundalini itself. And I would know that what I was doing, the surrender that I was giving to my teacher, to the Kundalini, was the correct thing. So I would feel, sensations of bliss. I would just feel, not just bliss, but I would feel a response within my body. That would give me to know that this was the correct thing to do. And there was other things, like you're sitting in -0, water, and you're not feeling that cold. I'm not feeling that cold at all. I'm out on the grass and it's freezing cold, and I'm barefoot, I'm naked, and I'm not feeling the cold. And that's not some kind of that's a response from the Kundalini within me as well, affirming what I am doing.
Your arms are tied to two separate trees, so that they're outstretched, and your legs are tied to two separate trees, so you're outstretched, and you're in the middle of the forest, in the middle of the night, with gale-force winds and rains coming down upon you, and you're saying the mantra. And how is that working?
As the insects eat me, and that is working. Well, you see, it's very difficult, because we'll take that situation, for example. So there I am, and so it's not a linear or a stagnant situation that you're in. So there are waves of things happening. So, for example, let's say my ego rises up and says to me, "Oh, for God's sake, Amelia, this is absurd." I get flashes of things into my head, and then I say the mantra with even more devotion and more intention, and then the panic of my ego, or the objection to what's the surrender that I'm giving, passes, because the devotion and the surrender through the mantra, grounds me and opens my understanding of what is happening. And the Kundalini communicates. Suddenly, the rain that's pelting down upon me begins to feel differently on my flesh. The insects that have been, in particular park, I don't feel that anymore. I begin to visually, the light changes around me. Things just become different in the physical environment, through my vision and my hearing and my mantra to the Kundalini.
How important is your mantra during these experiences?
Oh, it's saving grace, my anchor, my method, my life, the thing that allows me to completely give myself, that takes me away from, the other aspects of myself that objects. I couldn't give myself to the Kundalini in the way without my mantra, Chrism. It's crucial.
Agreed. Now that you've been infected with this terrible refinement entity, does the mantra serve you at all within that context?
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, it's my first. I mean, I mentioned about my other, the original mantra that I had. It's like that. Sometimes what's going on at the moment is, well, first of all, because of the experience over the years, I completely trust you, my teacher. I completely trust the Kundalini and trust the mantra that I have. And so, but sometimes, with what's going on, when it gets very difficult and I feel I'm going to lose my way and my reason or whatever, the mantra again becomes that moment when I begin to say it, everything else falls away. All the panic, all the actual intrusion itself fades away, a little bit like the rain that I was trying to describe, or the weather. It just doesn't become important anymore. And everything clears in a way that just brings me into complete union, really, with my Kundalini. And then after that, things begin to change. I am no longer, I can take action that is different to what I might have done without my mantra. I begin to do things differently in my day-to-day. I don't respond to the entity intrusion as it would like me to. So my mantra is my saving grace, constantly. And it's my constant companion. Without it, I would not be stable, even though I'm probably not stable. But without it, I certainly would not be stable. I would not.
What advice would you give?
I couldn't give this mantra away for anything. It's priceless, Yeah.
What advice would you give to a person to begin to live the mantra, perhaps in the way that you've been guided to live your mantra?
I would say to a person that the mantra has come to them. If they know the mantra has come to them through the Kundalini, they have to trust that and begin to say the mantra and open their heart and their mouth and their voice and their throat and every part of them to absorb the truth of what they're saying and to mean the truth of what they're saying. And if there's a challenge in that to begin with, trust that will pass, that will pass, and the meaning of the mantra becomes you, and you become it. So I would say you will be challenged to discard it. You will be challenged to, maybe put it aside. And you will be given very sensible reasons to do that from your past conditioning and from all kinds of sources, including entity. But the point is, you never, ever, ever really let go of the truth that the Kundalini has provided this for you through the presence of the teacher that she has given to you. So you just stick with it. You just stick with it and keep saying it. And then eventually, and very quickly too, it can become like your breath. It's your first. It's just instant when things are challenging. And not only that, Chrism, it's not just for when things are difficult. I mean, at the moment, that's the way it is for me, because of this entity intrusion. It's more than an intrusion, really. I mean, anyway. Because of this entity, it is constant with me. But there have been other times in my process where my mantra has been spoken all the time as, a joyful prayer of celebration and a prayer of, a mantra of just beauty, because the words that are actually said are incredibly beautiful as well. So it's a celebration, when you're saying that truth, when you're saying that mantra to the Kundalini. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Now, with regards to this new level of interaction that you're having with, like, say, with the refinement entity, isn't the entity trying to interrupt you as you say your mantra, and isn't it actually kind of in a reverse process allowing you to learn how to focus your mantra even stronger?
Yes, Chrism, absolutely. The result of what's actually happening is that my mantra is becoming even more, exactly as you say. Exactly as you say. So it's like the opposite of what its intention comes to pass.
Now, a lot of the folks that might be listening to this may be married. They'll have a spouse, and maybe they'll have a spouse that isn't feeling guided to give themselves to the teacher your Kundalini's guided you to give yourself to. How does that work within a marriage? Can you explain a little bit of that?
How does
John feel about it?
Yeah, no more cryptics. I think people know what we're saying. Yeah, John, you see, okay, so if you look at the timeline as well, that and my process with you as my teacher, John would have witnessed my process. Now, not all of it, obviously, but he would have witnessed some things. So, for example, he would have witnessed some of those instructions you would have given me to go out in the middle of a freezing cold, stormy night, and I would have told him that because we live in the same house, and therefore, he would see me leaving the house when we were down in the country, and he would say to me, "You're not going out now, are you?" I mean, and I'd go, "Yeah," and he'd say, why? And I would tell him that it was an instruction from my teacher, and he'd say, "You're a lunatic, Amelia." And I'd say, "I know, but it is a commitment." And so I would have explained to him about my obedience to the teacher. And so he came to have an understanding of that, but he would always have said to me, "I will never, ever, ever become a student of Chrism," because he could see as an observer how difficult it was. But I would say to him, "But you haven't seen or experienced the actual experience of doing that and what that's like." But he would see me coming back in perhaps an hour later or even longer, and
covered in mud and needles.
Covered in mud and pine needles. And he would see that and he would say to me, "My God, I can't, you're amazing, you're radiant." I can see that he would see things that and so he came to an understanding for himself that this, was worked for me, and he came to also see, I suppose if it was anybody else but a Kundalini person, I feel, Chrism, who did the things that I was asked, they would not respond to that in the way that John would see me respond. And so he was able to be okay with my choice. He also knew that he kind of had to be because, we have that kind of a relationship anyway, whereby, we give each other that space to be authentic, separate but together. And so I would say to somebody, it's and I wouldn't have landed it all on John at the same time. It was a process between John and me as well. So I would encourage, John has had some Kundalini activation symptoms, whatever symptoms or, phenomena, whatever. And I would have suggested to him, he does do the Tibetans and he does practice the safeties. And I would have suggested to him on various times, about becoming Chrism student, but he will still say no. But he does pay attention to your teachings, and he does that through me, and also through a little bit of reading that he does. So who knows? Maybe he never will. Maybe he will. The Kundalini may make it that he is too, or the Kundalini may make it that it's okay. He doesn't have to. I don't know. It's about him and his relationship with his Kundalini. I know now he would have just absolute resistance, but maybe that's okay with him and his Kundalini. I don't know that, Chrism.
Well,
so I would just say to somebody, you just, sorry.
I think it's good now for the married couples out there. I think the real message that you're giving them is to give your spouse that room to be authentic. Give your spouse that room to be as real as their Kundalini is guiding them to be. Don't be afraid because the Kundalini is causing your spouse to step over the taboos of what we call rational society. Trust your spouse. Trust your spouse's trust in the Kundalini, whether or not you have it. I think your husband is a shining example of that, Amelia. A shining example. Absolutely. And I think your children are too. They understand what mom's going through. And what happens to the relationship with your kids, Amelia, as you do this work, as you do the mantra, become the mantra?
The relationship with my kids has got better and better and better, really. They also witness, what is occurring with me. And, what you said about being authentic. I'm fairly authentic with them, and I will explain. Now, again, not everything, but the relationship, when you witness that, the relationship between me and my children has got better. And some of them also have experiences with, with Kundalini. And one of my daughters most certainly has. And she doesn't refer to it as much as the Kundalini, the word the Kundalini. Yet she's the one that gives me beautiful little presents like a little snake, a ring, or a little pendant, Kundalini symbols. And that's another thing that I have brought into my home that has helped the relationship between me and John and the children, is to actually introduce Kundalini symbols into the home. Even simple things like the color red, they're all very aware of what those things are and why they're in our home. So that all helps to to have the Kundalini included in our day-to-day living. And all my children were living at home with me when the Kundalini awakened. They've all gone out now and they're living. I have only 2 living at home. But that I did that very early in my process, and I was encouraged to do that by you. And that was extremely helpful, I feel, in, establishing the Kundalini as part of my life and as part of their lives as well. Very simple to do, yet a really, really good way to do it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the teachings of your obedience to Kundalini and how you have handled it, and the different understandings that are occurring within the diverse relationships that you have with your kids and with your husband and with yourself and with your Kundalini. Thank you for telling us about that. Now, is there anything that you would like to add on a personal note?
No, Chrism. No, I'm fine. I just listeners, I never know when we start these programs, so I didn't know we were going to be talking about this. So that's another level of obedience there for you.
Right, and you know, there's this horrible stigma on the word obedience because it denotes, you know, master slave, that type of thing, and you could also go teacher chela, you could also go you know, master disciple. I mean, all of these different things will still apply. You can just go, you know, person one and person two, and if you know, and if the meanings of that correspond with the giving of yourself to the grace within that person number two or the grace of the person number one, as clarified by the Kundalini, then titles really aren't important.
No.
Titles are not important. I was given the word master, Chrism, by one of my assistants a long time ago, and it was suggested that if I didn't have the, you know, this title in front of my name, that people wouldn't take me seriously enough, and I had a bit of a problem with it. I'll be honest with you. I've always spelled my name lowercase, and I do, you know, try not to initiate levels of egocentrism into the title or the name. But, you know, we did a few seminars with that word in front of my name, and, you know, I kind of regret it, to be honest with you, because, you know, to me, it's just showboating to some degree, and I just, well, but it means very little to me. You could say friend Chrism or dude, or, you know, and I'll answer just as easy. But you know, so anyway.
But what's interesting, if I may, in say something here, yeah, and they're on the YouTube videos as well, actually, because Master Chrism in the early ones, remember, comes up really big and strong at the beginning of the videos, and they surprise me now because, you know. But I suppose the interesting thing, Chrism, is that I can remember at the beginning of my process as well, and you know, the word when I was doing my surrenders and beginning my my mantras, the word master, it was very useful in a way because it brings up an ego response. And I know that it means nothing to you, but it would have brought up for me an ego response and a rejection of that term. And I mean, it just means teacher or whatever, but it was very interesting because I was then able to identify, you know, some of the issues around authority, you know, because, I mean, for me, authority of any description, I would always have had an issue with. You didn't have to use the word, you know, master. But what you're talking about when you're dealing with a mantra is actually giving your authority or giving the teacher, the master, whatever title, the other flesh person, authority over you, you know, in a way that is something that is very difficult for the ego to deal with.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, it can be a trigger word, I think, and it can be helpful.
Well, it definitely is a trigger word for some. I get a lot of negative comments about that. But for the most part, it's just people are having an issue with being challenged that way.
Yeah. But
yeah, so as far as the mantra goes, the mantra can be so extremely important that it can take away the freezing, the freeze burn that a person can have, like Amelia on one of the various Kundalini journeys that Amelia, Rosemary, Joey, other people have taken, where they do the water temperature test. And you get into a very sacred position, and then you immerse yourself in water that you've had to break the ice with a shovel off of. Remember that in Mount Shasta?
I do, Chrism, yes.
And as you say the mantra, there is no cold. It just doesn't seem to affect you at all. And it is definitely a mastery of mind over body. The body is not harmed. The Kundalini gives a patina of protective covering to the body. Yes, you'll still feel wet. Yes, you'll want to be very careful so you don't slip on the stones as you climb out of it after however long you're going to stay in it. But the mantra gives you the ability to have mastery over the body, mastery over the mind. As you give yourself through that mantra to the Kundalini, you give yourself into a level of Siddhic expression. A Siddhic expression, of course, are the special skills that come with the Kundalini, like telepathy, psychometry, psychokinesis. This would also be a level of mastery over not succumbing to water temperatures that would kill other people, literally. Mm-hmm. You're in, 30 degree water up to your neck, and you're just hanging out there saying that mantra.
Well, yeah, Chrism, one time you gave me, and it wasn't to the river, it wasn't to the seaside I went or to the ocean, it was to the lake up beyond our house, and it was a very desolate area. And I told John of the instruction you had given, and you had actually said to me, it would be maybe a good idea the first time to bring John. So John came with me, and he was standing on guard as I was undressed and I was inside in the water, because your instruction was that I was to stay immersed completely up to my neck for 21 minutes. And that I was to set an alarm somewhere and come out after 21 minutes. So I did that. Now, it was October. There was sleet. The water was below freezing. And John came up with me anyway, and he stood, I'd say, maybe 6 feet away, and I had to go down into a deep section of the river that was very still, and it was like a pool in the river. And I stayed there, and I said my mantra. And I remember at the beginning, thinking, oh my God, my whole body was shaking. I'll never survive it. But I was saying the mantra. And it's exactly as you say. And the 21 minutes were suddenly up. The phone on John's alarm, or the alarm on John's phone went, and he came over and he said, your 21 minutes are up. But the point is, he was fascinated by this. And I don't know if I've shared this before or not, but he decided that he was going to try it. So he got undressed and he got into the water. And I suggested him saying a mantra, a sentence mantra over and over. And he got undressed and he went into the water. And Chrism, he didn't last at all. And it was so cold. And that would have been, for example, a demonstration to John of the power or the actual grace that comes with saying a mantra, and what occurs for a person within that surrender and within that obedience, again, that I want to use that word. And so two things happened there. Yes, he couldn't do it. Had John stayed in there for that length of time, he would have got hypothermia, but he couldn't do it. So that's just to sort of give an example of what you were saying.
We're talking, John is a big, strong man. This guy is a retired sergeant in the police force of Ireland. I mean, he is not, a little pipsqueak like me. He's very capable, very smart, very intelligent, very strong. And Kundalini kind of bypassing these areas and pushing a person into areas where it doesn't matter how strong you're still going to freeze. You're still going to freeze. You can't fight the cold except through Kundalini. Kundalini takes you out of the medium of scientific valuation of what will happen to you if you go into a certain place within a certain thing. I guess it's a lot like the firewalkers, the people that walk across the hot coals. Okay. Which I've never tested the Kundalini because I'm always feeling hot.
Please don't. Please don't instruct me.
Oh no, I would not do that because I'm not buying. I'm not. There needs to be more of a sacred issue.
I know that.
You never do it just to test.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thank you, Amelia, for relating your experiences with this. And now I would like to go ahead and open up to Indra. Indra has a question, so let's go over and talk with Indra. Thank you very much, Amelia. And here we go. Hello, Indra.
Hi, Chrism.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I hope you are too.
Good. I am. What about listening to the mantras like the Gayatri Mantra?
Gayatri Mantra is a very good mantra to listen to, and if you can actually memorize the Gayatri Mantra and use that as a personal mantra, I love the Gayatri Mantra. And even more so if you can sing it.
I've pretty much listened to it for pretty much 2 years straight. For me, the mantras was something like I felt like I ate like food.
Right.
Because I really didn't have a prayer. I didn't have a prayer. I did not have a religion.
Well, it's very interesting that you bring that up because, if you look at the ancient techniques of spiritual inculcation to chelas or students, you will recite the mantras as you eat. You'll recite the mantras as you prepare the food. Constant recitation.
Really?
Right, and when you bathe, you'll be reciting the mantra as you bathe. When you're working, washing your clothes, growing the food, you're saying the mantras all the time. And
I had it on repeat.
Exactly. And a lot of the folks will use my CDs that way. They'll listen to the CD and they'll just put it on repeat. And because everything that I do on that CD is like a mantra that is being given. And so definitely the Gayatri Mantra is a wonderful mantra. And a lot of the Sanskriti mantras are absolutely beneficial. And I would, I have a book of some Sanskriti mantras in my room. Next time, maybe I'll bring them out and we can go through some of them. But the most powerful way really is to say it and hear it within your own language, within your own understandings. That is the best way to have it, because in order for it to do the refinement work within you, you need to understand what it is you're saying. Your ego needs to have an opportunity to reject it, to be repulsed by it, and that
I love the meaning.
Right, and that allows the Kundalini consciousness within you to make those gentle corrections upon the ego, gentle or not so gentle, depending. Gayatri Mantra is wonderful, and that's spelled Gayatri.
Tri, yes.
For anybody that's looking that up, you can look that up on Google. And there's a sung version of it. I forget who the artist is, but it's very, very beautiful sung version.
There's like most artists have their own version. There's one by Viva Primo and Mitten.
Right.
Americans. Like there's a lot of different types of versions.
Right. So that is a good mantra. Now, that is different than a Kundalini mantra, however.
Right.
That is the Gayatri Mantra is a good mantra to get you going into the mantra, the land of mantra. But when you have the Kundalini like you do, Indra,
Yeah.
a more severe mantra is required. A mantra with
Right.
extreme severity, extreme challenge to you. For you know, one of the meanings of the phrase abracadabra is I create as I speak.
Wow.
I create as I speak. Abracadabra. I create as I speak. One of the meanings. It also has other meanings. And so as you speak your mantra, you create your mantra.
Wow.
And so
Well, there was one I think I sort of there's one I remember. I was in meditation and I remember saying out loud, fixing me what I judge in others, correcting me what I lack and see in others. Like I remember I did that probably for about a month. Is that considered a mantra?
That would be considered a mantra, yes, indeed. But even go further with it, Indra.
Okay.
Give of your body.
Okay.
Give of your mind. Give of your soul. Give of your ego. What are the areas in your ego that are the most profoundly sacred to you? And give those. Give your modesty. You know, go prostrate yourself naked in front of your teacher.
Right.
You know, lose all sense of societal taboos or rules or fears with regards to giving yourself as abjectly as you possibly can.
Right. As vulnerable as you can.
Be as vulnerable as you can. Thank you. Exactly.
Gotcha.
So when I give people mantras, you know, those vulnerabilities, I hit those vulnerabilities every single time. And the person will pass or fail based on their willingness to come up to speed with what that mantra is pushing them for. Not everybody can do it, Indra.
No, but it builds, that's the part of that I notice, that when I hit that vulnerable state and I really completely surrender is when I feel the most strength. Is where I pull the most strength, ironically, but true.
Well, yeah, and so the more you surrender, the stronger you get, is how it works. And this doesn't make sense to a societally based individual. You know, the more you surrender, the more you lose. You know, that's how it works in our society. The more you surrender your wealth, well, you got no more wealth. You've lost all your wealth because you surrendered it. But within Kundalini, the more you surrender, the more you gain. Because the more you surrender, the less attachment you have, the less expectation you have, the less entitlement you have, the more freedom you have for the Kundalini to flow and give herself into you. It is the expectation, the attachment, and the entitlements that clog our energetic anatomy.
Yep.
So when I give a mantra, I try to make it the hardest thing that person can do. I'm brutal, absolutely brutal with it. But then again, you know, I'm dealing with a person that is having the Kundalini, and that kind of brutality is very much accepted by the Kundalini. She wants that to happen.
Yep.
Because she knows that it's spelling freedom for the individual. So now tell me your question, my dear.
My question is, okay, so I have to do this in two parts because, as you know, there's no vocabulary for Kundalini. So, so through the left feet, imagine a circle around my whole left side, front to back, all the way around, connected to my left chakra. Now, imagine the same on the right side, all the way around, connecting to my left chakra. Now, I want to talk about the center. The center chakra seems like...
Let's back up. Let's back up. What do you mean left chakra? What do you mean by that?
The left side of my head. It seems like a chakra is
So the left side
multiple
of your
chakras
head?
spinning up top. Yes.
Okay, and the dividing line being the fontanelle?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Right. So I want to talk about the center first. So
Right.
there is an energy going through the vagina, up to the center, back down to the spine, through the anus, and it's circling. And
that's the micro or the macrocosmic orbit.
Right.
The microcosmic orbit is where the macro is reflected within the spine. That would be the microcosmic orbit. And what you want to do, if you're having that, is you want to run a ball of energy, through the vagina, up the front channels, all the way over the fontanelle, down the back channels, and into the anus, and then back into the vagina, and then up and then around, and then up and down and back, and so on.
That's the flow, yes.
Right. And then you insert another ball of energy that goes inside of the spinal cord itself. This is the microcosmic orbit. And you want to spin that energy to the right. That ball of energy, you want it spinning to the right. As you send it up that spinal cord, it will come into the interior of the cranium. It will hit the pineal. It will ricochet off the pineal. It will hit the back of the head. And then it will bounce off the back of the head straight down the spinal cord and continue that loop. So it's like the stem of a flower with a triangular flower head inside the cranium.
Oh, I see. Well, it seems like the energy is directing itself in that way.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And so you have the outer, which is reflecting the inner, and the inner, which is reflecting the outer. And this is a flow ratio. This is a flow movement that the person is having done to them, but also initiating and supporting within themselves.
Right.
You do this all the time. This is an active and passive meditation at the same time. You're active and you're passive at the same time.
So it's like naturally done.
It's done naturally and it's done intentionally at the same time.
Okay.
Passive and active at the same time.
Okay. Is it normal to release sex fluids at that point?
To read what? To do what?
For the body to release sex fluids.
Sexual fluids.
Yes.
Yes, or to have orgasms too.
Right.
Yeah. You can have orgasms, especially because things are going up. The penis or the clitoris can get extremely sensitized with that type of a practice. You can literally, from a man's point, you can feel it going into the urethra and into, the male equipment through the prostate, and then up into the spinal cord. And the woman can feel the same thing as it goes into the clitoris and follows the nerves, straight into the spinal cord, from there and out also through the ovaries and the fallopian tubes and all of the gear there as well. That can become an extremely sexual experience, and it's okay. You just let it come. And if it causes you to orgasm, don't try to stop it. Typically, I would say if you were outside, if you're saying practicing a tantra, I would say, well, take it right up to the tip before you have the orgasm, and then don't let yourself have the orgasm.
Right.
So your body is quivering and kind of jerking and kind of like, it's had this amazing level of energy built up within it, and that is not being allowed to leave the body.
Right.
This is the correct way of celibacy, by the way. The Roman Catholics do it wrong. The Brahmacharyas do it wrong. They, it's an all or nothing scenario with them. They don't understand the middle pillar aspect of celibacy. The middle pillar aspect of celibacy is to come all the way up and then have the tenacity to not cash it in, to not ejaculate, to not have the orgasm. But yet you bring the energy up. You see, you're bringing the energy up inside you, and that energy, as it's awakened within you and inflamed within you, stays with you, and you build this huge charge of energy within you. This is why Tantra is so valuable. It's such a valuable teaching, but hardly anybody is teaching it, in a way that allows you to have and hold the energy. They're ejaculating it or losing it through orgasm, when in fact you want to nurture it up to that point and then let it stay in the body. Let the Kundalini take it. And the Kundalini will actually do this. The genital fluidic ascendancy is how the Kundalini begins to pull your sexual energy and your sexual fluids and to transport them into different areas of the body, transforming those energies into a form of like bioplasma that comes in and begins to energize specific areas of the body. And you'll begin to understand that the genital organs literally are pumps. They are pumps that I've had the pump here in me go this fast. You feel that inside you. You feel that pump, and you can feel the energy being for me, I can feel the semen being pulled out of the testicles and up the vas deferens and through the prostate and into the spine.
Right.
And there are 7 different fluids that make up male semen, which means there are 7 different pumps, micro pumps, that will allow that fluidic expression to be reversed. Same thing with the woman.
Yep.
Okay. So
That's
you'll
what
have
it seems. Yes. Go ahead.
That's why you can feel that sexual expression coming. It's perfectly okay to be wet or to have an erection or any of the sensations that a person will have while doing the microcosmic orbit and the macrocosmic orbit at the same time. Matter of fact, I don't try to stop yourself from having sexual expression during that time. Just don't allow yourself.
It's not like I do have the control. I feel that it's happening naturally. And like for instance, today, I felt it happen at least 3 times where I haven't been sexually active for a good year, and I feel that it's happening naturally. It's building up. I can feel it being sucked upward, and let's say like maybe every 4 or 5 hours, I can feel my body releasing that fluid.
Right. And that's perfectly all right.
Okay.
Perfectly all right. Now go ahead and feel free to practice the micro and macro cosmic orbits and see how they work for you.
Okay, so say that again one more time.
Which part?
Practice. The practice will be to bring it up.
The macro, right. The macro, which it happens kind of like on the exterior of the body or following everything that's exterior to the inner area of the spinal cord, more of the Chitrini channel within the spinal cord, which has the width of a hair. It's got the width of a hair. So everything inside of that would be the purview of the macro cosmic orbit, MACRO.
Right, cosmic.
And that follows that has a natural flow of going up the vagina, through the front channels, up through the front channels of the throat, coming over the chin, over the lips, the divot under the nose, coming up the dual channels of the nadis of the nose, the ida and the pingala, coming up both channels, going into the fontanelle, spreading throughout the crown, and then following the back channel over the occipital lobe, down the back of the neck, between the shoulder blades, all the way down to the anus, going into the tailbone as well, the tip of the tailbone, and then down into the anus, and from the anus over what people call the perineum, and then back into the vagina, and then up, and then just doing that as a constant flow.
Yes.
Yeah.
What does it mean? What does that mean? That whole flow?
That's energetic distribution.
Okay.
Part of the transformation.
All right. Can I add something to that?
Oh.
Go ahead. Finish.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, that's happening right at the center. Now, on the left side, the right side, it's coming in from the left side, the right side, the center, and it's all merging. And I can feel, like, if I close my,
it'll all merge at the crown. Yes.
Right. So it's merging at the crown, and it's going clockwise and anti-clockwise.
Yes, exactly. If you talk to Brooke, the woman I work with here, when I'm giving her, we're doing a certain form of devotion, one arm will be going clockwise on her back. I'll have the palm of my hand moving clockwise on her back. My other arm will be going counterclockwise at the same time, forming a dual Vesica Pisces at her heart chakra.
Okay, and, what does it mean?
It's just a very, very powerful activation form. And what's happening for you, that's happening at the top of your head, which is exactly perfect for Kundalini.
Right.
That means
so what does the two direction mean?
It means the two are becoming one. The clockwise is the sacred male. The counterclockwise is the sacred feminine. When you open the Vesica Pisces between the two, you're merging the positive and the negative at the same time. That is that's kind of what a spinal sweep is all about.
Right.
You're nurturing another momentous spinal sweep.
Wow. So it's a spinal sweep, in other words, but to a different level. Is that it?
To a different level, correct. But it's an infusion of transformative grace upon the human system.
Right.
You see,
because it's highly blissful.
A lot of these techniques are promulgated or supported by belief systems that don't buy in to the ascendancy of the human being. A lot of the Asian systems will not buy into that. They've got the 5 chakras, their crown chakra is at the throat, and you'll never be able to have the sacred holiness or to become the sacred holiness. The Hindu system, the 7 chakras, that for me is a more active principle. And even then, they have these man-made blockages where you have to pass a certain gate or go through a certain area. Yeah. And it's just not. That's just not true. That truth is for people that power monger. They want to control divinity. Their ego wants to decide where the divine. They want to take
credit.
Right. Because that gives them relevancy. It gives them relevancy to the populations. They don't have to work. People just give them things. And so what I'm teaching is that you do become divine. The natural evolution for the human being is to go from Homo sapien to Homo luminosus. That is that next step in the divine construct of the human being. And it's only the ego that is going to resist this, or that wants to power monger, or wants to control, or to take credit for. The other four bodies, no, they know exactly what to do. And just as is happening with you, Indra, your body is kind of taken over. Says, this is what we do. This is part of the deal. Here it goes. Let it go. Let it happen.
Well, the thing is, you described to me what's happening in my body. And if you gave me a pencil and a piece of paper, I can draw it. If I close my eyes and I look through the third eye, I can see what the energy is doing inside my body. It's moving in a certain way. I know when it's going circular. I know when it's going spiral. I know when it's going zigzag. I can see it. I have glimpses of it from my third eye. And what you just described is everything to the T. You described it better than me. Of course, you know it, right?
Well, the Kundalini.
So if I'm living it.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm living it, I'm living it. I can draw it. If you gave me paper, I would draw what you just said.
Why don't you go ahead and draw that and then post it on the Kundalini Awakening group?
Okay, I'm going to get my son to draw it. I'm going to give him instructions.
All right.
Since he can draw better than me.
Okay, very good.
And
very good.
But exactly I kind of sort of drew it right on here as I was talking to you because I wanted to give it to you the way it's happening. So I kind of sort of drew it, but I can get him to draw it better.
Excellent. Excellent. I look forward to seeing that.
Okay.
And thank you for calling in with such an excellent question.
Thank you.
Do you have another question?
Yes, you know what? No, you've answered my question. I am at peace. But my son have been having Kundalini symptoms, but I would like him next week. He would get him to call in and relate his story to you.
Very good. Looking forward to it, my dear. Looking forward to it.
Okay. So listen, thank you as always. You said the Kundalini gave, itself to us, but the Kundalini also gave us you.
Yeah, I suppose.
And it's a blessing. It's really a blessing. Listen, it's not an everyday occurrence. Stuff is happening within your body, and you want to know, not in an egotistical way, but, you look for guidance, right?
Exactly. True. I did.
Right?
I did. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, you're right on target, Indra. Thank you. Thank you for your grace and bringing that great program.
Yes. Well, thank you very much.
Okay. Putting you in the blue here.
Bye-bye.
And I'm going to go up here to looks like I think I'm going to have to go to Rosemary here. Hello, Rosemary.
Hello, Chrism. Wonderful program today. Thank you.
Oh, and thank you for listening. And I believe you have some announcement that you might like to make.
I do. I want to, the many things that you talked about today and your relationship to people and as our teacher are very powerfully experienced in a seminar.
Can you come closer to your microphone, Rosemary?
I'm sorry. What I was saying is that the many things that you mentioned today about being a student and the teacher and the relationship and what can happen and develop for the student in that relationship is amazing. And in a Kundalini seminar, that is a major piece of what happens for people who are coming, listening, and eager, and it's a connection with you and how the divine energy flows. So anyone from across the country or out of the country is welcome and invited to our seminar in Mankato, which is about an hour south of the cities and the airport, and we'll make sure that you're taken care of. And if you'd like to book a room.
Rosemary.
Yes?
People don't know what state or what city you're talking about.
Oh, sorry. I'm a little arrogant about that. I think everyone knows Minnesota. This is in Minnesota, near St. Paul, which is one of the twin cities in Minnesota, Central. And if you'd like, it's October 28th and 29th. And the name of the place where we will be is American Hotel and Conference Center, and that's America with INN in place of the A, and that is in Mankato, Stadium Road. It is near to the University of Minnesota campus there. And if you'd like some further information, you can reach me and email me, and I'll send that to rosemaryg@usinternet.com, or this phone number is 952-303-6438. And I love getting phone calls, love talking with people. And we also, we're on the events, thanks to Katie. We are on the events with Chrism on Facebook. And also any questions that you have, you could send me there on Facebook. I'd be more than delighted to answer them.
Well, thank you. Can you repeat the dates and times and where again?
October 28th and 29th in Mankato, Minnesota. And the American Hotel and Conference Center. My phone number to reach me for further information is 952-303-6438. Any time of day and night, I would be happy to talk to you.
Well, thank you very much for that announcement, Rosemary. And I look forward to seeing you and Joey and Katie again, and everything that comes. So thank you very much. And I'm going to come back up to Her Holiness here. And do you have an announcement for Berlin at all, Santana?
I do. Yes, Chrism, I do. This seminar is being arranged by Manisha. And I just want to say something. Manisha is normally in the chat room when she stays awake, because Manisha is from Berlin, and this show starts at midnight. But very often she's in the chat room. But I just want to say hi to her because she's in Dublin. She's in this lovely country, and she's with another Kundalini person called Callie Koo. And there's going to be a lovely gathering of Kundalini people, and I just want to do a shout out to them. And also another lady that's in the chat room, Michelle. Michelle is with us every week, and I know that she's listening via Facebook tonight. And I just want to say hi, Michelle. She's on a lovely solitary time with herself and her Kundalini. So I just wanted to say hi to her. So to get back to Berlin, Manisha is organizing the Berlin seminar, and it is happening next September, and it's on the 15th, 16th, and 17th of September. And exactly as Rosemary said, one of the quickest ways and easiest ways to contact her is go to Facebook, type in Kundalini seminars and events with Chrism, and you will find her post there where she's calling Europeans and anybody who would like to come to the seminar in Berlin. So that's how you get in contact with Manisha at the moment.
Does she have a non-Facebook address?
She does have Chrism, but I don't have it at this moment in time. But I'll tell you what, I'll get it before the end of the show, and I will give it then. Okay?
All right. Very good. And I was going to go ahead and if you had questions that you wanted to ask, go ahead and ask them.
I will, Chrism. I actually have it here now. So her address is LENOERGAARD at posteo.de. So that's her address. It's a bit complicated one, isn't it?
Kind of.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what, if you're interested in that and you don't have Facebook, have a biro ready, and I'll give that out again just before the program ends if you would like to contact her directly via email address. And the last announcement I would like to make is, if you want to support this work, if you would like to make a donation, I would invite you to do that, no matter how small, no matter how big. It will be gratefully received. There's two places you can go. You can go to www.chrism-kundalini.com, blogspot.com, or you can go to www.kundalinisafeties.com, and you can make your donation there. So if you're in a position to do that, I would encourage you to please do it. It is a great service to very many people. So those are my announcements.
Thank you. Go ahead and ask any of the questions that you may have collected.
Okay, so the first 3 questions came into my inbox. The first one was, what does this proverb mean? Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water.
It means that you have to do the work. You have to do the work no matter what. It's not about, once you have enlightenment, you don't have to do anything anymore. It's not that way at all. You still have to chop wood and carry water. Even as a divine individual, I think there are different gradients of semi-divinity upon a world. A person's karma will delineate how more divine or less divine an individual is upon this 3D world. The more of a skill set that you have, well, you have to practice. You have to work with that skill set, right? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
You have to practice with that skill set. You have to do that work. And so if you've been given the grace of healing, well, then you have to practice the skill set. If you're being promoted into a stronger level of divine grace may send a challenge to you, like you're having with your refinement entity, Amelia. As you're reversing the negativity and the terror that is trying to be pushed into your system, well, you have to do that work. You have to reverse it. You can't just listen to some entity going, kill yourself, Amelia, or whatever it's doing, or don't listen to Chrism, he's lying all the time, or, whatever it says. You have to constantly do the work to support the greater level of enlightenment that is coming in through the Kundalini to you. And so you have to be able to discern how that work is. And the discernment itself is a work. The discernment itself is chopping that wood and hauling that water. The giving of healing, going out of your way to get up, get in your car, drive to a place, set up your table, have people lay on that table and receive the healing massage or grace that you do. That is part of chopping the wood and hauling the water. It is what keeps you alive on this world. It is, from a very primitive. It's a very primitive example of getting water from the lake, boiling the water to make the soup. The fire you need, the wood is what you need to create the fire to heat the water to make the soup or the stew or whatever. It is a way of feeding and nurturing yourself, even as you gain the great levels of enlightenment that the human being can hold. You still got to eat. You still got to drink. And you still need heat to warm your body. That's what it means. Over.
Thank you, Chrism. The next question. Generally, we know nothing about our past lives. If a person has spinal sweep during this life, does he or she remember it in next lives?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The idea really isn't to keep reliving the past life over and over and over and over. It's a past life on purpose. The past life means it's not happening yet. It happened in the past. And the fact of the matter is that you've agreed to come into this lifetime under a veil of forgetfulness. And because that veil of forgetfulness is in place, you don't necessarily get to remember everything that the past life gave you. But within a Kundalini context, the skills that you acquired, the enlightenment that you acquired in that past life will continue to express itself upon the new body and the new being that is now behind the veil of forgetfulness. That's what happened to me. As I came back into the body after having the Kundalini, spinal sweeps and all, I was able to see the entities. I was very psychic, I could see things that nobody else was seeing. I could experience things that nobody else was experiencing. I was taken as a child into certain dimensional folds and given experiences there that nobody else was really having. I was having an overlapping of extreme dimensional shift during the early life pattern of this physical dimensional shifts. And so I would have different dimensions merging into this one as I was wide awake, not sleeping. And that can happen to you. Certain psychic skills can remain with you, like telepathy or clairvoyance or psychometrical type of things as well. But you don't get to remember how you got them. You don't get to remember, typically, you don't get to remember what happened, what occurred, how it occurred, why it occurred. Now, so many people are going to come up and say, wow, I remember that, Chrism. You're not right about that. I remember my past lives all the way down till I, got the Kundalini going. She gives me all the information I want. All I have to do is lift a finger, and I'm there with it. And, I'm not going to buy that. I'm not going to buy that. It's not necessarily a truth, but it is an egocentric desire that a person's going to have fulfilled in that way. Not to say that you can't have that either. I won't be absolutist about saying that you cannot have it. I'm going to say typically a person that is telling me that, I'm not believing one lick. And if they feel compelled to say it, then that's also, to me, another way of discerning that it is not a truth. Most people that have the ability to communicate about the Kundalini will not supercharge it with egocentrisms. And they typically, a lot of the people will. They will have that egocentrism supercharging what they're saying. And I think a lot of it has to do with they're not being taken seriously in society. And so this is how they're being validated in society. And I won't say that Kundalini people won't have that problem. Certainly they will have that problem. But maybe they won't promote it in such a way that just adds more egotism into what it is they're saying. Past lives are real, and they sometimes you can access them. Most times you shouldn't. Most of the time you should just live the virtuousness and the honesty of this present life expression without having heavy reliance on anything that has happened in the past. And don't go into believing any of this Akashic record nonsense either. Don't go in there. That don't go there at all. That is a trap. That's just a trap. And you don't need to go there. You need to be honest with yourself and the choices you make in this lifetime. When you die, you'll have plenty of time to review how this compares to other past lives. Right now, live this life and forget about the past lives. Let them be past. Stay in the present. Over.
Thanks, Chrism. I don't want to be, this is from the group now, I don't want to be invasive with my question, but Kundalini is also a sexual energy. So masturbate yourself, wouldn't that increase the energy? But I read that when you ejaculate, you create another body, can be a spiritual one like incubus and succubus, because you are getting out the creation energy and will create something or someone. So for the most experienced student on this group, can you answer, is masturbation, what masturbation can really mean in Kundalini? And they apologize for their English, they're from Brazil.
Right. They're following the Gnostic teachings, and the Gnostic teachings say that if a person, like if a man masturbates and spills the semen, that another consciousness form can be created, like a incubi or a succubi. Basically, sexual feeders can be created that way. Samuel Weor, I believe, also teaches this type of thing. And no, you don't need to masturbate. You want to masturbate. You don't need to masturbate. Okay, let's make that separation very clear. Okay, your ego, because it feels so good to ejaculate, wants you to ejaculate, and so you want to ejaculate. Your ego is wanting that experience, not your spiritual self, not the mental body, not the emotional body, not, it's all about the ego aggrandizement, what this question is revolving around. And they're calling themselves an advanced student. Well, hello, more ego. Or as they say these days, they say, ego much?
Well, I think they were asking, that doesn't matter.
Now, yeah, I mean, you can masturbate up to the point of not ejaculating, and that is fine, I guess. Better to do what Indra was talking about, better to allow the Kundalini to stimulate you to the point where, the sexual energies are stirred and they're pumped up the spine, things of that nature. But you can use masturbation as a form as long as you don't allow it to ejaculate from a male standpoint, or to orgasm from male-female standpoint. Don't let the orgasm occur. Sometimes, like 3 or 4 times a year, from a person can masturbate to full-on orgasm. These are people. If the people are practicing celibacy or brahmacharya, then fine. From an ancient Chinese method, there's a certain number, like once in the fall, twice in the spring, once in the winter, once in the summer, that type of thing. You lose that energy and you allow that energy to reformulate itself, things of that nature. I don't know if I would not go the sorcery route and try to create things out of the semen or out of the menstrual blood, for that matter. I wouldn't try to do that. Neither would I be drinking the menstrual blood or anything of that nature. You shouldn't need to if you already have the Kundalini. Seems like this person is focusing a little too much on the sexual aspect of the Kundalini equation. And to answer the question directly, you can masturbate, just don't orgasm. Over.
Okay, thank you, Chrism. I mean, so this person says Kundalini is also a sexual energy. Is that true? Because I've heard, I'm asking the question because you often hear people making the statement, Kundalini is a biological energy. Kundalini is a sexual energy.
Well, Kundalini, part of the Kundalini expression will be sexual. It is not a sexual energy of itself. It is a divine consciousness that can manipulate the sexual energy and does so. Because if you look at it, babies are made through the sexual energetic force. Life is created through the energetic sexual force. Divinity is what creates or transforms the human being when it awakens itself within, or allows itself to be awakened within the human body. So a new person is being created and through transformation. And so, of course, the transformative opportunities within the sexual reproductive format will be used by the divine consciousness. That does not make the format the identity of the divine consciousness. No. It's like you don't become the screwdriver when you're using the screwdriver. Or do you?
Thanks, Chrism. That's great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
The next question is, I keep hearing when you awaken Kundalini, your mind will get attacked or something like this. Is
Attacked?
everyone? Is it
What?
attacked?
Attacked?
Yeah, or something.
Okay. Like what's happening
like
to you?
Is this everyone, or what exactly happens?
No, that's not true. Your mind will not get attacked. Your ego, however, will get attacked. Oh, yes. The ego will certainly get attacked. And if that is what you're calling your mind, if your self-identity is all about your ego, which is mostly what people have, then yes, that will be attacked. And your egocentrism throughout your mind, like thinking, your thoughts, typically you think your thoughts. Well, as you know clearly, Amelia, another form can come upon you and start thinking thoughts inside your own head, right?
Yes, absolutely. Correct.
And that is an attack upon the validity of your inner sanctum and how the Kundalini can just allow something to come in there and give you a refinement teaching. So in that way, but that won't happen to everybody. That does not happen to 100% of the people. So no, it is not true. It'll happen to some, some that really, are being pushed further. But it won't happen to everyone. So I would have to say that is a false statement. And before you ask the next question, I want to go ahead and read what Lana Seeker is writing. She says, are you saying you don't believe in the Akashic records exist, or just that you do not recommend that one try to access them? I am saying that the Akashic records do not exist within the form that the human has expectation for them to exist. All things that have happened or occurred are still happening and occurring within a form that is not controlled by a librarian. Or by books. They're not like these old shriveled books that some elf is carrying on its back to deliver to you. It's like, well, what's the truth of Chrism's life? I just want to see what he's all about. Let me look at Chrism's Akashic record here. Oh my God, he did that. Oh my God, he did that, this, and that. Put it back, please. No. No. And I don't even think they're called the Akashic records either. That's the Akasha. That is a Sanskriti term. No. But they do exist. They do exist in the firmament of grace, in the firmament of divinity. All actions and all activities are recorded, and they are they visitable? Maybe. If your equation demands it or allows for that to occur. Can you go to the Akashic record keeper and go, yeah, I would like to know about this person that calls themselves Amelia Santara, and I would like to know what she did on April 6th, 1978, and I understand she was really hot then, and so I want to like kind of look at her as she's like taking a shower. Okay, go ahead. I'm ready. Send it to me. It gets so ridiculous. this Akashic record thing. And then we have librarians, and we have elves, and we have knowledge keepers. I'm the knowledge keeper of the Akashic records. You have to go through me first. And it's like Gandalf is there, right? You have to go through Gandalf. And no, but Atlanta Seeker, I appreciate your question. But yes, all things are never forgotten. Nothing is ever forgotten. And it is fixed in the firmament, and yet it is not all accessible to the egocentrisms of people that try to chase down these types of things, or the psychics that go like this, oh God, like, okay, I'm getting a signal here. Oh yes, the record keeper is communicating to me. I am the record keeper of the Akashic records. What dost thou wish to view? Well, I'd like to get an answer to this guy's question over. He's paying me $20 an hour, and I kind of, I need to pay the rent. Well, then, let me serve thee. But I have a little stipend, too. Got to pay the keeper. So, no, I wouldn't buy any of that. Although, you can, if it's helpful from a Kundalini perspective, you can get an idea of what was occurring for a person, like say in a past life or something like that. If it helps their equation and you're allowed by your Kundalini to look, then you can, depending on how well you can see, you can determine a gift of service or a gift of helpfulness for an individual through the Siddhic skill of psychometric energetic viewing. This, I don't know if you're going to call it the Akashic records or not. I would say not. So, for instance, if I'm looking at Atlanta Seeker right now, I look at Atlanta Seeker and go, okay, this person's calling themselves Atlanta Seeker. First of all, I need the truth of that person. Second of all, I need permission to view the truth of that person. Third of all, I need to have a sacred, this needs to be something that is of service. This is something that needs to be sacred, and this is something that needs to be okayed or given permission from the Kundalini and from the individual that's being viewed. That can occur. Would that be the Akashic records? Well, because it's part of the all that is, then yes, it is part of what I am calling, shall we say, the expanded imprint upon the firmament of life. So, if you want to call that the Akashic records, fine. The keeper of the Akashic records would be the Kundalini within you. She will determine what is appropriate for you to see and what is not. My God, I'm down to 90 seconds. It's so fast. Oh, my word, that's the fastest it's ever gone. All right, I'm going to have to, my word. Okay, all right. So I just want to say thank you for everyone listening. Amelia?
Thank you for everyone listening.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I'm trying this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Whoa! Thank you, everybody. I'm going to end it like I started it.